Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Welcome, everyone, to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today to bring you stories of hope. You're going to be inspired by my first guest, LaTonya Baker. She is the founder and CEO of Generation of Excellent Trendsetters, Generation of Excellence nonprofit, GOE House of Purpose, Transitional Living Home. I'm still my sister's keeper, the movement and fashion show, and Tyresa's boutique, too. She started this journey in 2012 after losing her mother unexpectedly. Her mother was the glue of their family, and mourning the loss of her played a huge impact on their family. It was at that time that she chose to break the cycles. After researching her family's history, she discovered not only did her mother pass in her sleep due to hypertension and obesity, so did her grandmother and her great-grandmother. This not only worried her, but it pushed her to make some healthy changes in her life. Throughout the years, she has served as a community health worker, personal stylist, production coordinator, mentor, and case manager. Throughout her journey, she has been transparent with hopes of encouraging and impacting the lives of others. Welcome to the show today, LaTonya.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we were talking before you came on that you are at a crossroads right now with a lot of change that's happening in your life. And you said it's a good problem to have, but I still need to have work-life balance, because tell us what happened in your business.
So basically we have a prenatal care business. The prenatal care business has been like the focal point of all the other endeavors that we have. And with the prenatal care business over the past 3 years, we started off with maybe roughly about 100 to maybe 250 clients. And after the pandemic, it jumped up tremendously to well over 500 clients within like 4 months, mainly because of how much help the community needed. After roughly about 6 to 7 months, we were well over 1,000 clients and counting. So with the increased need in the community and with the expansion that we recently did, we now have 3 offices versus the one that we started with. And with the additional services that we offer, it's just a huge need that we see in the community. Also, because we offer a variety of services, we kind of steered away from just doing prenatal care. We're pretty much like a one-stop shop. So when it comes to counseling, when it comes to housing, when it comes to job readiness skills, things of that nature, we've been able to develop a unique system and service where we're pretty much able to help the entire family, whether it's mom, dad, sister, brother, a child, grandparent. We offer services to everyone in the household. So when that happens, what I've learned is that when success it's a huge responsibility. And often people are, I think, I think people think that they're afraid of failure, but I think that some people are actually afraid of success because it comes with a huge responsibility. And, even with me, with some of the endeavors that I explored, I woke up one day like, oh my God, that really worked. And people are actually using it. So it comes with a huge responsibility. I had to learn that there were some people in my life that I could not take on this journey with me. And that was hard for me. That was hard for me to let some people go because I felt like I was letting them down. But once I kind of got used to doing that, those that love and respect me understood it. So that work-life balance, that surrounding myself in a positive environment, it's been so essential to my success.
Wow, that's incredible. Honestly, I have not. And I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. I interview a lot of people. I have a lot of people that I talk to and different things, and nobody has your problem. Nobody. Honestly, it's like, yeah, that worked and you did this thing and it's really happening and it's exploding and it's working. So how did that all come to be? The prenatal care, now you're doing all these things for families and the whole thing. You're doing the whole thing. But how did that come to be?
You know what? It started with a prayer, to be honest. I was when I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, about it was around 2016. I remember driving down the street one day and I pulled over because I was like, what is my purpose? And my aunt was in a car with me and she was like, you're always helping everybody. Your purpose is just helping people. You're a service person. And it wasn't until years later, and again, that was back in 2016 when I asked myself that question. Unfortunately, my dad ended up getting sick after my mom had passed and he was diagnosed with cancer. So me going back to Memphis, Tennessee, and at that time I had moved to Atlanta trying to pursue my career in production, going back and forth, taking care of him, making a lot of sacrifices. I lost everything, my car, um, where I was living. I became homeless. And so just, taking care of him. And unfortunately, he ended up passing. I ended up back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it was a little embarrassing for me because I felt like I left Milwaukee, Wisconsin to better myself. And here I am, I have to come back. And, I often hear people say that you cannot go back into the environment you got sick in. But I beg to differ because when you go back into the environment that you were once sick in, if you're covered, then you can recover. So that's kind of what happened to me. I came back. A friend of mine needed some help in the daycare that she owned. I became her director, kind of turned the whole daycare around. I enjoyed working with the parents, the children. And my sister was a prenatal care coordinator. She introduced it to me, told me what it was all about. I started offering the services to the mothers at the daycare, and it went from me helping 5 mothers to 25 mothers in 2 months.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? I can do this as a business. So I ended up opening a business 60 days later, and it's been up from there. It's been an
I,
amazing journey.
I have never, I don't think I've heard anything like this. Like I said, I'm like shocked. I think this is like awesome. You writing a book is going to be next, right? Putting this story in a book and supporting entrepreneurs as well. But my God, the fact that you asked the question, what's my purpose? And then
Hmm.
everything started lining up for you. Not to
Yeah,
say it wasn't easy,
yeah,
because it wasn't, but you were in it.
yeah. And I've actually written a book. My first book, I was in a collaborative book called When She Speaks. And then the second book that we actually just finished up this week. It's in reference to the documentary that we're filming called To Whom It May Concern. So the book is called To Whom It May Concern, and it's a collaboration book as well with some women that I collaborated with in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's our letter to the people who cause harm and hurt to us, but it's also a letter that we wrote to people who actually have loved us and supported us and have been with us through every step of the way.
Oh my God, to whom it may concern. Can you give me a little bit of it? Can you give me a little bit of the story?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's basically, as my bio stated, my journey to me took a turn when we lost my mother. My mother passed unexpected in her sleep, and when she passed, I felt like my life was over because she was like my everything.
Mhm,
And I started doing the research on my family, and I found out that not only did my mother pass in her sleep, but so did her mother and her mother's mother. So
mhm,
now we have 3 generations of women who all passed in their sleep under the age of 55, all
mhm,
from the same symptoms. So at the time, I was obese, I was stressed out, I was living check to check. There was a lot that I was dealing with, and I was a product of my environment. Growing up, we didn't talk about financial literacy, we didn't talk about credit, we didn't talk about eating healthy, we didn't talk about self-care. So the things that I watched my mother go through, I just thought that this is what it took to be an adult, and I inherited those things. So I just decided one day to just break the cycle. So that's where my journey started when I lost her. That's what the book is all about, just things that I went through as a child. I was molested by my babysitters, and I never told my mother until I was about 25, I think, when I actually ran into my babysitter in a club one day, and I froze up like a 6-year-old child.
oh
So
my.
the book talks a little bit about that. talks about my previous marriage, my sons who are a part of my empire. It covers it quite a bit.
Wow, what a life you've had. What a life you're living. And can I tell you, LaTonya, you are
Mhm.
a beautiful, beautiful storyteller. Like
Thank you.
you are. You've got me on the edge of my seat, and I'm just like, wow, I'm blown away. Very, I don't know if you've ever practiced storytelling before,
Mhm.
but you got this for
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you. That's actually the first book we did. It was Fearless Storyteller When She Speaks.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. You're an amazing storyteller. Continued success, I wish you. Now,
Thank you.
hopefully, you are around. You did say you surrounded yourself with positivity, and you have a good team of people. Hopefully, you have a good team of people that are helping you get this done, so that you can stay
Definitely.
healthy and well and rested. Right?
Definitely. My team is amazing. So shout out to them because without them, I could not go as far as I've gone. So I appreciate them.
Good for you. I mean, it takes also a skill to be able to, bring in a team like that and have the right people around you. So
Definitely.
that's awesome. Well, let's tell the audience where they can find you on social media.
Sure. Everything LaTonya Baker. My website is www.latonyabaker.com. I'm also on Facebook as LaTonya Baker, the trendsetter, and I'm on Instagram as Purpose Driven One. So basically everything LaTonyaBaker.com.
Yeah, that's really great. I appreciate you taking the time today out of your busy schedule when everything is so crazy, good crazy, because you're really busy, but that you came on today to talk to us and inspire us with what's happening in your life. Good problem to have.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, take care. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I want to introduce you to my next guest, Ruqayyah Abdul-Rahim. She is a highly sought after, powerful, intuitive healer and trauma informed survivor coach. She founded Ruqayyah and Company, a holistic healing house for women that provides clients the tools and resources to heal their mind, body, and soul naturally and sustainably. She believes that in order to truly heal, we have to take a holistic approach to treating the mind, body, and spirit. Only through treating our full selves can we learn to be safe, self confident, and full of self love. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, you are a healer, you are a trauma survivor, you have overcome a lot of things, and you're using the entire body approach of the healthy mind, healthy emotional body, healthy physical body. And so, what got you started in this journey?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I got started in the healing space 12 years ago, and it was by accident. I was at this lady's house, and she came home from work. She looked really tired, and I was like, "Oh, let me rub your shoulders. You look totally stressed out." And so I did, and she was like, "Oh, you're really good at this," and I'm like, "Thank you." And she's like, "No, no, no. You got to go to school for this." And I had just got divorced, had two young kids, and I was like, I need to find a job. I was a stay-at-home mom and I was married, and so school definitely wasn't in the plan. But that really started my journey. I went to massage school and discovered that um, I was super intuitive and
Mhm.
really good at it. It just came really naturally.
So, and then what happened? Then what happened? That
Yeah.
you tapped into your intuitive gifts, and then after that, what took place then?
Yeah, so I opened a massage clinic 3 months after graduating the massage school, um, and within a year grew it to two locations. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, and then was looking to add a third actually, and as I went to do that, I met with um, a male massage therapist at his just to rent a room at his location in a different part of Atlanta. And I remember going to that meeting. It was in the evening, probably like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And when I got there, I checked in the receptionist, and she said, "Oh, he'll be done in a minute. Just go ahead and sit in the waiting area." So I was like, "Okay." So I sit down and I'm waiting, and then he comes out, and him and I start talking, about massage and about business and about how we got into it and the different services that we offer and just all the things. And we were talking for a while, and I kind of sort of faintly remember at some point the receptionist was like, "Okay, bye, see you tomorrow." And didn't really realize at that point that it was just me and him in his office.
Oh,
And we talked probably, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour. And then after we had finished talking, he's like, "Oh, let me give you a tour." And I was like, "Okay." So we go to the first room. He's like, "Oh, this is the supply closet where the sheets and the massage oil is." And okay. And then here's the next room was the break room. And then the third room, and I'm standing in the hallway this whole time, just like looking into the rooms, but I didn't enter any of the rooms. And then we go to the next room, and it's the first treatment room. Like, okay, this is, treatment room. I was like, "Oh, okay, still in the hallway." And then the second treatment room, we go to the next room, the second treatment room, and he's like, "Oh, let me show you this thing." And I don't even remember what it was. It might have been, I don't know, like a water feature or some aromatherapy or something. I don't even remember. But whatever it was, I had to step into the room in order for him to show me what it was. So I step into the room, and next thing I know, he like pins me down on the massage table and rapes me.
oh my God, I just can't even believe that.
Me neither. Me neither. Because whoever thinks, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was just the same as if it was like a job interview, or you're going to see like a new apartment or house and somebody's showing you around. And then all of a sudden that happens, and it was traumatic. I kicked and screamed and tried to fight him off, but he was probably like 300 something pounds, six something, and I'm a woman, right? So woman's strength doesn't match a man's strength at all. Um, and it was, it was, it was, I can't even, it was years ago, but it was um, really traumatic. And I think for me, later on, I realized that it was a double tragedy because, um, of course, the rape and how traumatic that is, someone to take something from you without your permission. And then, the tragedy of it being in a massage environment, you
Yeah.
know, in a profession that I love so much. Oh my
Yeah, because right, yeah, you've got emotion because now it makes you maybe not want to do massage again.
Yeah, yeah. It was hard for me to look at a massage table for a long time. Um, and so I ended up shutting down my two locations and
Oh my God.
moving back to California, moving back in with my parents to be closer to family. At that point, I needed to be closer to family.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was in bed for a year,
Mhm.
depressed. Um, and thank God I was, me and my kids were with my parents because they helped me with my kids because I could barely function. I remember my therapist calling me, and of all of the times that I talked to her, that the thing that I remember most was her telling me like, take it one day at a time,
Yeah.
one day at a time. If you can't take it one day at a time, take it one moment at a time.
Yeah.
And it was, I was depressed. I wasn't suicidal, but I definitely was depressed. And those were like words to live by,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, in those
Yeah.
times when, you're super sad, something traumatic has happened. It feels like it's something that you can't overcome because it's so huge.
Mm.
Um, Taking it one moment at a time probably really saved my life.
Yeah. That was good. That was really good advice.
Yeah.
Did you press charges?
I don't really like to answer that question.
Okay.
I think for many survivors, some do and some don't.
Okay.
Um, whatever happened, um, I think is irrelevant for the wider public to know. But um, so if you excuse me, yeah, I don't.
No, it's fine. I mean, absolutely. I have another question, and
Yeah.
you might also feel like that's not a question you want to answer, but I'm just curious. So
Mhm.
please forgive me for asking this question. So you have your dress on,
Mhm.
the way you're dressed right now on the show. Would that have been the same way that you were dressed when you went to the massage uh, appointment there with the guy? You were dressed kind like this, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I bring that up is because, we've heard many times before that women dress provocatively or they dress a certain way and they asked for it.
Mhm.
Certainly, you are very private in the way that you dress, and you're very, you're honoring your tradition, your legacy, where you come from. You're
Mhm.
honoring that, and so there is that, and so that already right there, the fact that you were dressed like this,
Mhm.
um, I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. And I'm honestly sorry for all of the survivors, right? It's something that we've gone through. A lot of us have been through it multiple times. I've been raped 3 times, survivor of two domestic violence marriages. And it's why I do the work that I do with working with survivors, because yeah, it's um it's not always because someone is dressed a certain way or they asked for it or whatever. No one asked for it, right? So it's never
Oh,
that, right?
I know.
It's never that. It's
Yeah,
never that.
yeah.
And if my story can paint a picture and show people that it can happen in, you know, circumstances that you wouldn't necessarily expect, then
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the show today to be so open and talk about this. That takes a lot of courage and also healing. And I'm sure that people can listen to this story. Many women can relate to when they've been violated against and raped, whether I was molested as a child. So for me, I can relate to that where my privacy was invaded, as an early on that should never have happened. So uh, anyway, what? How can we let the audience know to find you on social media if they want to work with you more?
yeah, sure. Yeah. So, like I said, I do help survivors create the life that they've always wanted. Life can be beautiful and as big and as successful as you want it to be, even if you are a survivor. And so you can find me on my website, ruqayyahandco.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under Ruqayyah and Co as well, and LinkedIn.
Good. When you see this video next week, I'm asking you, Ruqayyah, please to put your links below, because sometimes when people are driving and
Okay.
they don't know how to spell or whatever, if they're looking up, it just makes it easier when you see it on Facebook next week to put your links below so that people can have an easier time finding you.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you. Thank you for being so courageous and open with us all. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Continued success and healing to you. We want to thank you so much for listening in today to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Stay tuned next for Rosita Perez right after this show. Take care, everyone. You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.